Hello, hello. I am here with the fabulous Eden Sassoon. Girl, how are you?
You're fabulous.
Oh,
They say you only see fabulous because you are fabulous. You only see what you have.
oh, I love that.
How could you see anything else?
That's right. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I am taking that so much.
The truth.
So, in case anybody is living under a rock in the Grand Canyon somewhere, who are you? Please.
That's question to me. And see, here I go. This is who I am. I'm Eden Sassoon. That's my name. What's in a name?
Oh,
I don't know. There's 50 years of learned behavior, relearning behavior. I'm a child of God.
Love it. Amen.
And my name is Eden Sassoon. And you might wonder, oh, okay, yes, I am the daughter of Vidal Sassoon, the daughter of Beverly Sassoon. There's so much to the story, but I am a child of God.
I love it. And so I know that people, what was that show? The Beverly Hills something or other?
Exactly.
I never even watched it. So I was like, oh, she was on there? Okay, yeah, whatever. I know her.
I love you.
From Orlando Premiere. That's how I know you. So there we go.
That's because that's it. You're right. You're like, what? How?
Yeah.
Who? I'm like, right. I forgot to.
So for people who may not know, were you ever in the hair world? Like in the hair industry? Like, did you ever go to cosmetology school? Did you ever do any of that?
I went to cosmetology school to visit students that my dad would go speak to.
Okay.
Because I loved it, because I felt like family. And so I would go with him. And I was always at the salon. I was always in the business. I want to know, I want to see, oh my God, who can wash my hair, color my hair, cut my hair, let's play.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't have the skills that you guys have as far as the technicality to put a pair of scissors in my hand and there's no way. And the pressure of being his daughter to think that I could cut hair. Oh. No, not interested. But I have mad respect. Mad respect. So yeah, people always think that, and they still do. Oh, do you have your salon? Can you cut my hair? I'm like, no and no, but I love you. I know someone. I'll call someone for you.
Yeah. Which I just saw that before we got on, is that you have Eden, a salon by Eden Sassoon.
So I had, it sold prior to COVID. I don't even know the years to all this situation anymore. Right. But I had it for multiple years. Dad passed in 2012. So 2012, 2013, we opened, and then I guess 7-8 years, which was beautiful. But let's just say I now know what not to do.
Mm-hmm. The total,
which I guess, huge learning experience. Yeah.
As a daughter of a hairstylist myself, you learn quickly. You learn quickly.
But you are a hair.
I am not. Surprise, surprise.
I love this little connection we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. Well done. Where, we all have a story, and you touched on it already. We all have things that we've overcome. Yeah. And on the BeautyPro Podcast, that's what it's all about, is being real and raw and talking about our struggles. So what were some of your struggles, and how did you fall into them?
One, I gotta give you mad respect for doing this, because in an industry, we're well aware of what goes on, any industry really, but let's be specific. That you hold this platform for people, and to come and share and be open and honest and raw to other people can listen and be part of the community. It's huge. It's huge. I'm very much into recovering out loud in any aspect. I share it.
I love it.
What the fuck? I'm like, yep, this is what happened. You got a problem? Call me. Whatever. I got someone. I know something. I'll help you. How can I be of service?
Thank you. I love it.
It's huge. It really is huge. God, it shit started young. I think that, we're born, here I go again, but this is where I'm at, and where I'm at is turning it over. So I'm in a 12-step program. And in that 12-step program, we do steps. There are 12 steps. There are 12 steps to a better life. you know,
Yeah.
to find freedom of self. And
Mhm.
so that's working. And I'm a year back in a couple weeks. And so I'm really working these 12 steps where I didn't the prior 9.5 years that I was in this program, which there's only so much you can think you can learn on your own.
Yeah.
You know, the problem only, you know, you really can't heal the problem where you got the problem from, and that problem would exist here. And if I don't change this, then nothing will change. So I think I was born, you know, we're all born in this beautiful place of freedom, and yet humans only know so much until we kind of can turn it over. And so look, I was born to a father who really had nothing and worked his ass off, not only fought for his country and fought for Israel and tried to make a place for himself in the world after World War II, but then got involved in an industry that he was determined, like disciplined to make shit happen. Like, for me, I was like, if only I had resonated with my father's character assets as well as his defects so much earlier. I'm like, now I'm 50 and I can see what they were, but the discipline that man had is amazing, but also to the detriment, you know? So like, I feel like, how did I get involved in my, what was the word you used?
Your struggles.
In my struggles, I was born to a man who struggled and overcame it. And I was born to a woman who struggled and had addiction and was an actress in Hollywood and over, you know, came it. So it's like we started this conversation, you only can give what you have. And that's all they had to give me. So at that time, you know, mad respect. I don't know why I keep saying it like that, but I do.
It's so gangster. It's so gangster. I'm down for it. Mad respect, baby. Yeah. And you got to do like the fist pump and the yeah. Good. It's good.
Thank you. So that's just sort of like, I was given the tools that they had at the time. And I think that as much, it's interesting because now that I'm going through my stuff, I look at like, oh, wow, I sort of just picked this up and carried it over into my life and passed it on to my kids. And I'm now trying to unpack it and unfold it and redirect, like abort mission, abort.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I just turned to things at a young age that I could manage my feelings, because I lived in a world where he was big and he came to certain, you know, places in life that were bigger than himself, and that you have 4 children, you have big life, you have people around you, all this stuff, and you get lost in that, right? So I was sort of getting lost in the shuffle, and not on purpose, but that's just kind of what happens in life. So I turned to food to ease my pain. Because that was one thing that was there, right? And if it wasn't there, I was going to find it. And if I found it, then I could feel better. And that was really at a young age. And being my father's daughter, who was slightly a perfectionist, as we all know,
just a little bit.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun. You know, it was like, wait, no, don't gain any weight. You can't. You have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain way. And again, it's not his fault. This is what he knew, and this is how he was presented with life, and he had no other option. So I don't blame him. I'm just now relearning a different way and how to self-accept, you know, these things that I've really thought were flaws. So, I mean, you know, I turned to food, and then after that, I turned to the obsession of men at a young age in the fantasy world, not actual.
Okay.
I got to, you know, instead of like the princess, the Cinderella, I put on my dress. I did that too. We would sit around and we would do like, oh my God, and he came and he saved me. And then we went on a yacht and we were on a boat, and we did the whole like teenage girl obsession with the perfect man.
Right.
Like what?
Yeah.
So I mean, right? It happens. It really
Yeah.
happens. At first, we're the little girls with the princess dresses and everything's safe, and daddy's going to save us. And then daddy dies. And then, oh shit, what now? So then there's food, and then there's men, and everything but me is going to save me. And so I just learned at a young age that things outside myself could make me feel better, which is exactly what not to teach your kids, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. You don't want that. No, but
Right.
I'm so happy that it's obvious that self-awareness is huge with you, and knowing your limits.
Thank you for saying that. So self-awareness, it's always been a thing for me. Even at a young age, I knew that these things were problems, but I don't know what to do at that point, because the self-awareness, then there's too much going on, and then I'm turning it on myself. Does that make sense? Obviously.
Yeah.
But not even in a positive way. So now I'm at a place where, like, all right, feed off the gas. You can be self-aware, but you can also live in the principles of honesty and kindness and self-respect and all these things that I'm learning, and turn that over to a higher power and be kind and loving to yourself. You know, and we think it's so simple, and in actuality, I don't know. I used to wake up, and it's getting much better as one day at a time goes on, that the voice between this ear and this ear was just like, ran, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and you're feeling this, and don't eat that today because this, and I just like, go back to bed and shush it. Shush it. Right. Shush
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So now, because you've gone through the program, the 12-step program several times, right?
So I was in it for 9.5 years, and prior to that, in and out a little bit. But I did not work my 12 steps the first time around.
Okay. Yes, you said that. Okay. Right. See, that's a perfect example of like going through the motions and not grasping what is the truth.
Yes.
So, okay.
Right? Well, so 12 steps, you know, if it works for hundreds of thousands of people, and they're saying, hey, this works. And I'm saying, great. I'm going to just stand out here and watch you guys. Right. And think that it's working through osmosis type thing. No, I didn't realize, and this spreads into every area of my life, I didn't realize that I had to do the work, that it works if you work it. I thought that, like, oh, if I had these ideas, that God would understand and just handle the situation.
Just give it to you, roll it out, like, oh, good for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what this time around now, what is giving you that drive, that peace to complete it?
Because I knew that on April 9th last year, 2023, when I woke up in that hotel room in Las Vegas, that was it. And I was with my boyfriend, technically, who I was like, this guy's got to go. This has to go. This attitude, this behavior. I don't know how to do life on life's terms. I don't know how to respond to it. I don't know how to feel. I can't keep doing this. Something's got to give. Like, and the same person, God, not person, sorry. Excuse me, God. The same spirit, the same thing that got me into AA the first time got me back to AA this time, which is the same thing that gets me through every day, which is the same thing that shows miracles in my life, which is the same evidence that proves that, like, prayer works, that proves that meditation is the most incredible tool, that proves that if I could just stay out of this thing right here long enough to let that, I call it God, to let God do the work, all is well. Even when it's not seemingly not well, all is well. And I'm not talking religion, because religion is created by men, and men fuck up everything, right? We just do. We fuck shit up. So if you turn that over to that magical thing that, you know, when you're just sitting there sometimes and you're just like, and whether it's in meditation or on the beach and looking at the sun or listening to the ocean, or I wake up in the morning and the doors are open and the birds are like singing these songs that I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? And we usually are just like, oh, the birds are singing. Like, like I listen. And the minute, see, it's happening now. They're all around her, I'm telling you. So every morning I wake up, I'm like, thank you for talking to me. Thank you. And they're like, sometimes they sing louder and I'm like, okay, what's the message today? I'll listen.
That's so beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Be present.
It's
Be
like
present.
so simple, and yet we all struggle so hard to be in that present moment because we just want to stay attached to the past, which it doesn't exist. So if you want to call that crazy, go ahead, because that's crazy. Like, who does that? I'll tell you who does it. A lot of people do it, right? Here I'm answering my own question.
Right? I mean, everybody does that. And I think it's just easier in there, and it's in a warped thinking to just pretend.
Painful. It's so painful. And to have friends and people like that in your life, it is so painful, because it's like you're like in this whatever dimension we want to call this reality, right? And you have people who are sucking you back into this reality that doesn't even exist anymore, but you're trying to be in this reality that we know of, when there's actual something bigger than this. So you're being like pulled back, and you're like, don't take me. Or when it happens, you do it yourself. You're like, wait, where am I going? Oh, that doesn't even, okay, let's come back to this. Oh, but this is kind of uncomfortable because I don't know how to handle with my feelings or emotions. So let me think about tomorrow or next week or the plan I have or whatever it is, because you can't just be right here, right now, listening to the birds singing outside.
Yeah.
And sometimes
no, sorry. And my thing is, I just want to make mention here to the listeners is that, we're talking about this 12-step program, and you don't have to have an alcohol addiction or food addiction. It could be codependency. It could be just whatever hurt, hang up, or bad habit that you have. This is for you. And 100%. 100%, like whether you are a beauty or barber pro, or an esthetician, or just a stay-at-home mom, like we all have things that need to be fine-tuned. And some of us, it's God himself that helps us to get through this.
Right. We say some are sicker than others, right? It's the obsessive compulsive thoughts in our head that go on. You manifest it in any way you want, whether it be food, money, sex, alcohol, drugs, clothing, hair color, hair cutting, people change piercings, tattoos. I got tons of them. Like whatever it may be, that isn't okay with you, that a behavior pattern wants to change. Then, me personally, and I have to be clear because I left my meeting this morning and we were talking about the traditions, and one of the traditions is anonymity, and where it stands. Well, you know what? It's 2024. And so for me, I recover out loud because people need it. And back then, when they made this tradition, they weren't sprinkling fentanyl over everything where people were just oh my God, we lost another one. No, this was like you had some time in between to get to the bar to have, as many drinks to pass out to do it again. It's a different ball game. So there's this, it's an interesting tradition, and I respect it, but it's not for me. It's just not for me, because I know the impact. It's a responsibility that I have in losing my brother and my sister to overdoses, that people need help, and there's ways to reach them. And if the 12 steps work for me, I'm going to be honest, one of the principles that we live by, and share that.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
Don't share it. Let people find it on their own. No, I'm sorry. No.
I am so happy you said that, because they're always like, you got to wait till they hit rock bottom. And it's like, yes, I understand that. But at the same time, you need to speak it out.
Right. Because the universe is listening. And if God's on their side, which he is all the time, but what if it's that moment and he heard someone? Or now that I have the Taste of Recovery podcast, it's not about me. I don't even talk that much. It's a space that I hold for these men to share their stories. And if somebody's listening that's going to change their life, then I did my job. I've done it, and I will continue to do it. Yeah. Because I know that my God's like, go ahead, speak it, speak the truth. I'm pretty sure that when Jesus walked this earth, whether, whatever story you want to believe, he did what he was told, and he spoke out loud. Right? Yep. We don't sit there like ding, 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 ding. Oh, great day today. No, this fucking life. This is tough shit.
This is real. This is real life. This is like real experiences. It always kills me when I hear the stories about like the mothers or the parents that were silent while their children were being molested. Like that drives me crazy.
painful.
Because they know the truth and they are refusing to release it out of them.
Right.
Oh, it
Right.
kills me.
And the fear based, right? So we all, I feel like we all stem from this fear that just stops everything. So we don't talk about it, don't share it. We can't take that step to help that person to save. Or you know what? Like the mothers who are, you know, neglecting their kids out of their own fear, or like the guy on the sidewalk who's dying in front of me. And like there are times where I just drive by and I start to cry. Like, what the fuck? This is what life has come to? Like, I have to drive by this? How? And then on the other hand, Eden, you can't save the world.
Right.
Like, and don't even think that you're not God.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that option. But where can you place your attention to be of service to someone else that maybe they can, you know, lighten the load?
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we're gonna switch. we're gonna switch gears for a minute. What is it that you do to nourish yourself?
Oh, wow. One day at a time.
Okay.
I will start in the morning. I wake up in the morning, and what happens today as opposed to what happened within the last year of my, you know, coming back into sobriety. The head was talking, the head was loud, the head was going back and forth, the heads were judgmental and tearing me down, and the fear was so heavy. And I work really hard with my sponsor, and and God, one day at a time. So I wake up in the morning and I immediately go to conversation. I say, thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for these birds singing out loud. Thank you for my dogs lying next to me. Thank you for this warm bed. Thank you for showing the way to my children and being in their hearts, whether they know it's you or that it's something bigger than themselves. Thank you for continuing to be present, because I see it, because they see it, because they know it, and they might not willing to express it in the way that I do, but it's something. And thank you for doing that. And then I go into the whole long, there's more, right? You can imagine there's more. I pray for the people that need it. I pray for those that are ill in my life right now. I pray for the ones that are suffering. And so I start to just give it away, because it's not about me. I pray for that, like, that I can be of service to that energy that I speak of, which is God, to help today go easily for somebody else. Yeah. Whatever that means. And magic happens in those moments, right? In between that space of like, you're thinking about yourself and you're thinking about yourself, which is for most people all the time. Get out of that space and you find that tiny space right in between self and self. Yeah. So I wake up in that moment. And then, like we were talking, I get up and I do my readings. And this book is phenomenal.
I look forward to your stories every day. Like, I'm like, oh, did she put one up? What's today's? Like, I love it. I do.
And some mornings, because like this morning I got out to the meeting and I knew that I'd be back for a while. So I don't know that I posted today. I didn't. So we're going to read it if you don't mind.
Go for it. I welcome it.
Let's do it. And so today's date, I'm not sure if we share on today's date or if we're live or whatever this works, but today's March 21st and it's 2024. Trust me and don't be afraid, for I am your strength and song. Think what it means to have me as your strength. I spoke the universe into existence. My power is absolutely unlimited. Human weakness consecrated. Human weakness, right? Consecrated to me is like a magnet. And if I'm saying that word wrong, please excuse me. It's like a magnet, drawing my power into your neediness. However, fear,
Perfect.
However, fear can block the flow of my strength into you. Instead of trying to fight your fears, concentrate on trusting me. Duh, Eden. Concentrate on trusting me. When you relate to me in confident trust, there is no limit to how much I can strengthen you. Remember that I am also your song. I want you to share my joy, living in conscious awareness of my presence. Rejoice as we journey together toward heaven. Join me in singing my song. Now, if we read that at some point, or maybe you'll share it or I'll share it, so you can go through that without interruption of my human retardedness.
Whatever, you did great.
But in the spirit, amazing. And look how it like says most things we've talked about today. Like, humans just live in a lot of fear. And if we turn that over, magical things can happen. Really, truly.
Yes. And if anybody listening didn't know what that book was, that's Jesus Calling. And it's like a devotional, right?
It's just one day at a time, a devotional. Yeah, it's Enjoying Peace in His Presence by Sarah Young. And someone gave this to me years and years and years and years ago, and it just keeps coming back into my life. And now it's literally every day. And again, people are like, oh, some people have an opposite, effect to the word Jesus, to the name Jesus, the entity Jesus, because it's a religion. It's religion. And so I never talk about religion because, again, religion is man-made and humans fuck up everything. So I don't do religion, but I do Jesus, and I do God, and I do love, and I do love, and I do peace. And within that love and peace, you want to call that God? Fuck yeah, all day, every day.
See, I'm happy that we're talking about this, because in the beauty industry, and many industries, I mean, even friendships, like you just don't talk about these things. And religion, what is it? Religion, sex, politics, and money, but sex is always like the okay. Like we can talk about that. The dirtier, the better. And it's like, but we can't say the name Jesus because, oh my goodness. So
I get it, and people do get uncomfortable, but you know what? Look into that uncomfort. Look into it, because whatever your belief system says about it, open it up to see maybe, oh, it could be that, or oh, it could be this, or oh, it could be that. You know what I mean? The possibilities in it are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like just and Jesus came by many, many, many names. So like, what's your problem with the word Jesus?
Right.
Like in the 12s in the program, we use God. You say God. Well, it could be a group of drunks. It could grow or die. It could be, you know what I mean? Name it, call it what you want, but the label really attaches itself to it, and then people start to freak out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just look into the freak out. It's really not that scary.
So what's an insult that you have ever gotten that you're so proud of?
That I'm so proud of?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's a really good question. And it's not, what's one you've gotten? I'm trying to think of like an insult. I'd be like, I'm sorry. Maybe because you only point out what we have type thing. So I would be like, look in the mirror. You know what? When I did that awful show we were talking about, I shouldn't call it awful, but the lessons I learned. I remember people used to say things, they would insult on like, just like, oh, she looks like an alien. I don't even know what, and I'm like, you know what, if that's what you're calling me, and aliens do exist and their sort of thought process that are bigger than humans or whatever it may be, I was like, oh, awesome, thanks. I mean, that's the stupidest thing I could possibly imagine, but like, I don't really take people's judgments or insults to heart. You know what? Okay, here, let's turn this around. I'm my biggest fucking critic. I am my worst judge. I insult myself all the time. And that's one of the things I do, why I wake up and I talk to God immediately and I turn it over. Because the old me would be like, you're wearing overalls right now. You have barely any makeup on. Your hair's a fucking mess. Your roots are not done. Like, what are you doing? Oh,
you look so comfortable. Let's just pause that right now. You look so comfortable. Like, I love a good overall. Okay. Like,
oh, and I went, you should have seen me this morning. I have my Papa sweater on.
I love it.
Hold on. It gets better.
It's a vibe. Yes.
I don't fuck around anymore. So like the biggest insult is myself to myself. Like, stop eating that. You're going to get fat. And if you get fat, he's not going to like you. Well, fuck him, because if he doesn't like me, then he doesn't know the real me. And the real me is, a child of God. And if I connect to another child of God, then we're in spirit together.
Yes.
And being in spirit with someone is way bigger than two humans can fucking fathom. Right?
Exactly. What do you want to be remembered for? These are the big ones.
I love, you do give good ones, and that gives me, I want to be remembered when they have a celebration of life for me, I want people to just smile and be like, that fucking crazy bitch. Like, she said what she wanted to say. She was truthful. She made me a little uncomfortable at times, but like, she just loved hard. She loved, and at times she was a little unruly because the passion would come in and sort of like, oh, she's making me uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but like, there's something in you that it's triggering that maybe you should just look into. And I know I got to pull back on that a little bit, because sometimes it's not for me to change. Mm-hmm. But if you want me to, ask and you shall receive. Ask. So I just want to be remembered for that, like, sort of like freedom, like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's and acceptance. So as I'm learning to accept myself, I hope that in this, idea of a hot mess of comfort, and just, she shows up as she is, and she is who she is. And I hope that whenever that moment is where I physically leave this plane in this physical form, that's what's remembered. And like, if I can do it, so can you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just hearing you say it now is inspiring. And it's like, yeah, wait a second. And even what you said before, like, if this guy can't take me in all of this, in whatever form it may look like, then he doesn't need to be around. And that goes for friendships, and sometimes even family. Like, if your family can't handle the new self-aware you, like, we got to pray for him. Yes. But also, like, I'm sorry. Bye.
That's, at Thanksgiving, they asked me this year to lead the prayer, and my kids were there, and the family were with them. We're all together. And like, I was like, okay, God. Yeah. You don't say no. And I could feel my daughter next to me, and my son was after, he's like, you've never done that. I'm like, because I've never been who I am today. Yeah. And they were like, but you're not. I'm like, this has nothing to do with religion. And my daughter and they looked at each other, but you could feel this like shift, this big open. It was like almost this like, oh shit, okay, if she's gonna really, where does your faith lie? And I don't mean, again, let's talk about spirituality. Like, where does your belief system, where are your cores? And other people will resonate that. And if it comes from this place of like love and truth and honesty, you hope that these principles pay off. And if those people are in judgment and fear and lack and blah, 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 then of course, those aren't the people that hopefully we want in our existence. And you're right. We pray for them.
Yeah, you pray for them. It's the most powerful tool you could ever have,
Woo! Okay, quick example. So I was visiting my daughter in Boston, and I got food poisoning.
Oh,
and
the worst.
It was she's like, Mom, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know, but I don't think I'll be able to get in a car, excuse me, because I'm throwing up and I'm the other end at the same time. She's like, should I call an Uber? I'm like, no, because we'll have to pay so much money, because there was nothing I could do. She's like, but I need to call the ambulance. I'm like, fuck it, call the ambulance, because I have to get there somehow, because in probably 10 minutes I'm going to be dehydrated, and then we know what happens, right?
Oh no. So
we get there. It's just a mess. The whole thing's a mess. But anyway, my pulse rate was up, and I was connected to, the monitor. And so the minute that I would sort of just like shh and pray, and I was talking to the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, and it was just in it, the monitor would go down. Down. And then the minute I'd start talking to her, so my daughter, she's like, no, stop. It's going back up. Do whatever it is you were doing. Because they were so worried that the monitor kept raising. But the minute I get into prayer, it would come down. And my daughter, she's figuring her stuff out with her own, higher power. And she's like, whatever it is you were doing, do that. And I was like,
yeah. Oh, I love that story. I love that so much. Oh, really? Okay. So yeah, totally. In your life experience growing up with Vidal as a dad, you learn things from, the beauty world and from all the things that we put ourselves in. What is a lesson that you've learned that everybody needs to learn and do?
My dad, it's funny because dad would say certain things that the industry maybe wouldn't necessarily represent. So like he taught me things like I would come to him and complain, and you know, parents, how they sometimes don't listen. Like, shh, darling, just go do something for somebody else.
Oh.
At the time that I asked and was like complaining as a young girl and wanting his attention, I didn't understand what he was meant.
Right.
And in retrospect, I'm like, he's absolutely right, because you can't be in self when you're being of service to someone else. And when we're in self, we're just self-centered, narcissistic, selfish individuals, who are some of us in addiction and some of us not. So he would say these things that like hurt me as a kid. And now I look back and I'm like, fuck, man, this man was so spiritual, like so spiritual.
Like he actually knew what he was talking about.
Yes.
What?
Yes. And in multiple ways. And they just keep coming up. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like he might not have been comfortable with the word God because he didn't understand certain things, but he knew exactly what that meant. Exactly. So he, you know, a lot of the stuff I saw in the industry and the world we live in growing up in Beverly Hills and the society normal stuff, which is not normal. He would also make sure that we got a different perspective. So I always sort of had this battle within myself. Like, I don't know what's right. I don't know what, I know I feel good over here. So maybe at this age, I can use this language, follow the evidence of love, you know, go where the love's taking you, go where the safety, the honesty, the trust, but back then, you know, it was sort of like, oh, the chaos, this is right, this is what should be going on, you know, these people are talking, this is happening, there's photos over here, there's people, you know, fucking blech. I don't even know a better word, like just blech. So it's a like that double-edged sword, right? And I don't even know if I'm quite answering the question properly, but I think that we all maybe look for the same things as humans in all the wrong places, when in actuality, like if we can kind of sort of settle down, quiet the mind, go inward, connect to heart, connect to that power that like is running, like what is going on around us? This isn't us, you know, that source, that sweet spot of something way bigger than self, and like we all really just want to be loved. We all just want to be accepted. We all want to be able to give that to someone else and connect. Like I'm a big connector. I love you. You know what I mean? I love you. I can see you. I respect you. Thank you for honoring my process in the last months. And that's what we want. And if we can just be honest, you know, and willing and have an open mind to see what that means, and you can connect along the way and be of service to others, the fuck else are we doing here?
Right. So during COVID, right, everybody was like locked up. It was such a crazy time, right? And I remember thinking like, hey, wait, we got to get outside. And I don't know about you, but here in Florida, everybody was outside kind of hanging out. You see the kids playing and you're like, wow, this is beautiful. This is so normal. And now everybody's like back to what it was before, right? You totally forget. And then I was talking to somebody and I was like, you know, Adam and Eve was in the garden and that was outside. And that means that we need to be outside. Not like animals, but just be in nature, like work the ground, have a garden, like grow your tomato. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right.
And so normal is not the Kardashians and like plumped up lips and asses. Like it's being sweaty.
It's being, you're right. I'm like looking like sweaty, maybe smelly. Like these roots are probably normal. I know we're in an industry where, you know, everyone's changing this, that, and the other, but like somewhere we you're right. The spoken word, the stories that exist, you know, hundreds of thousands of millions of people know them. And so there obviously some sort of, you know, truth to them that if you sort of if you can live by the word, there's so much freedom in that. You're absolutely right. And I don't have a garden, and I just learned how to keep my plants alive actually in the last like 3 years.
It's
Because I
perfect.
really, right? I couldn't keep a plant alive.
You're doing it, but you're doing it now. You go. That's so good.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's real. A girlfriend of mine, we actually met during COVID on social media, and she's wonderful. She lives back east. She's the sweetest, kindest lady. She taught me how to keep plants alive and how we integrate it into our spirituality and our everyday life, and what this plant, this growing sort of ism, like the soil, the planting, you know what I mean? I don't want to say human because it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
But she taught me. And there, right there, is the connection that I talk about. Like, just because I didn't know her before doesn't mean that I don't know her or you. Like, you could.
Right. My grandfather used to say, we as humans, we all go through the same emotions and the same experiences, just at different times of our life. But we all feel the same thing.
Right? Same.
And that connection is everything.
Same. Yeah. And if we could just remember that, right? And we are one. We come from the same thing, the same place, the same energies, the same biology. You know what I mean? Like, it's bigger than me, so I don't have the words for it, and I'm not a wordsmith. So I can only show like this emotion and this gravity towards it. But like, we are the same, and these people's egos, and I'm not knocking the egos. You know, people have an ego to protect themselves. So be it. You have your ego. I'm trying to put mine in and be of service to others. You know, so if I don't know, I just think the journey of life, you know, and I'm appreciating the perspective change, right? So the pain, which used to be pain, is not pain anymore. The pain is a lesson, and it's a growth, and it's an excitement, and it's a curiosity, and it's a chance to evolve. Where it used to be like, oh my God, and ouch, and like it's no secret my brother just overdosed in September. That is life. This happens. People do things and make choices, and I have to, for me to lessen the amount of grief and suffering, to find acceptance and surrender to that, right? People die. We lose our parents, we lose our grandparents, we lose our friends, to many different things, right? And so, like, a girlfriend of my actually, the brother that I lost, his first wife, just called me. She's like, so, you know, my father's been slowly passing. And I said, yeah, are you okay? She goes, my mom just died tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, totally fucking speechless, right?
Yeah,
because what do you say to life's just happening on life's terms? You don't say anything but like, I'm sorry, this is going to be a difficult time for you. And I try to give her, and it's funny because I see her reaching out, and all I do is meet her right where she's at with the truth. Because the truth is, your mom's dead, and in physical form, she's not going to come back. But her spirit is still very much alive. And she's like, Eden, did you speak at your dad's funeral? And I said, no, I couldn't. I wasn't able, and it was a different situation, and my brother did. I know how close you guys were, this, that. And she goes, I don't think I can do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to ask you something. Can you pray about that before you make a decision? She took prayer as sort of a religion thing, and she was like, well, you mean, you know, I believe in the universe, basically, not God. I said, great, perfect. Talk to the universe and listen for the answer. She then wrote me the next night. She said, I just wrote this, her and her friend, beautiful eulogy. Then she wrote me again. She's like, told me the whole day how it broke down, mom's funeral. She's like, I want to read you what I wrote. I said, it doesn't matter if I'm proud or not, but you did it. You did it. You stood up, you spoke. She goes, and I'm so happy. Right? So that moment of fear, that moment of human existence of like, I can't do this and I shouldn't. And she was standing in her grace and her beauty. And to be quite honest, I don't remember where you and I started this conversation or how we got to this point, but whoever's listening, this started. Okay. But the journey of just like getting out of your own fucking way.
Yeah. 100%. Yes.
It's amazing.
Okay. So what do you, time is escaping, but what do you have? You mentioned your podcast, but what else do you have going on for people to kind of like join in and like be a part of Eden's world?
Oh, well, first of all, I would hope anybody who does, and I do know that people who engage with me on social media, that I engage. So like my world is, you just ask and I'm right there. And I do talk to people that I've never met in my life, and some serious, beautiful conversations that happen. And that's great. If that's why I'm on this planet, then that's all I need to know.
Right.
So I am available to people, and other people are available to me. And then my podcast, which is about recovery. And, you know, for me, it's, I do work in a recovery center 1 day a week. So I offer my time. So like people on the outside, if you need me, you know how to find me. And yet I use my voice as much as I possibly can to be of service in any way. So like it's really getting, you know, for people on the outside, like for me, these are my things. God, my 12-step program, my recovery, my children, family, my podcast. And within my 12-step program and God, that's being of service. Yeah. You know, and living by the principles and doing my work 1 day at a time and taking care of myself and being, again, truly being of service. And the rest of the other stuff, which I'm not, I don't need, or I'm not asking for all of that. And if things come to me, I'm freely giving that away as well, because I'm here for a specific reason. And that's where I feel at peace.
Oh, love that. I love that.
And the more I try to get involved in that, right, the more Eden tries to butt her way in there and does things that, like, I don't, to be honest, I don't think I can do right anymore. Like, I very much share the truth, and I it's weird, but I listen to, like, I listen to the gospel. I listen to, like, I wake up, I listen to it. I work out, I listen to it. Like, it's hard for me to get in cars with friends and they're playing all this music, and I'm like, oh, that's you're infiltrating in my spirit.
Yeah,
but I'm still human and I have fun. But like, I am a sensitive being, so I'm very aware of places I can go and things I can do and things that I don't want to. I realize that now no is a full complete sentence, and I'm very happy with that, whereas before it wasn't, and I kind of just went with the flow and did what people did, and I do what I do, and I lead like, I'm good sitting back, I'm cool. You need me, I'm right here and I will help.
I love that. So what is a question that I did not ask that you wish I did, and what would you have said?
I love you. A question you didn't ask. I mean, you've asked the most beautiful questions. I love the, what would you want to be remembered of? I used to ask people, what is your biggest fear? And it's interesting because now that I try to not now that I turn that over and I don't live in that space of like, oh, I need to know my biggest fear because it's not going to happen and I'm so afraid of it. Like, why would I even present that question? So like, I would say, you know, I say I'm so bad at answering your questions of
no, you're not.
Because the unfolding of this conversation and where we're at, like, you didn't do anything, you've done everything perfectly, right? And I feel like I've been very present and in the moment, and anything we missed was supposed to be missed because it wasn't placed in front of us. So like, it's unfolding perfectly as it is supposed to.
Beautiful. There you go.
Right?
That's the answer.
That's kind of the yeah.
That's the answer.
That's it. That's being in the present moment, right? So I think, I don't know, I'm grateful for your fucking smile, for your beautiful face, and I don't mean beauty on the outside, for your spirit, and that we got to have this conversation. And people will, you know, those that need to hear will find the answer. And not that I have any answers, but like those that need to hear, you know what I mean? Like, we'll hear it, and others will do what they do and say what they will.
Yeah. Eden, we are at our time, but I want to thank you for being on the BeautyPro podcast.
Thank you, BeautyPro.
All right, listener, until next time.